What I'm going to do right now, so like I said, these spirits, every spirit that we'll bring in and we'll talk about, they're all spirits we carry in house. We carry the añejo here, so that you can always get that. We have a drink that we do with the añejo called the smoked agave, and as he mentioned, agave is a big part of what obviously is what drives what tequila is about. And so when I was working on the fall menu, I was drinking a lot of mezcals at the time and loving them, and I was thinking about doing a drink with a mezcal. That wasn't until, maybe it was you I met at that point. It was George. I met George downtown at some event, and he let me sample the Riazul, the añejo, and I loved it. I fell in love with it. This is an amazing spirit. Those vanilla notes, those flavors, that taste profile just blew me away. And so I knew that I'd have to wait a little bit on my mezcal. We'll have a mezcal on the fall menu, which we're working on now. But for the last menu I did, I wanted to do something a little bit different, and so and I wanted to use this. This spirit blew me away, and so I wanted to use it. And so that's where the drink that I'm going to make for you now is called the smoked agave. The idea being taking agave, recreating a little bit of that añejo sort of smokiness. I'm using peat monster, which is a blended Scotch, extremely peaty, to create the smokiness. So he talked a little bit about the different types of barrels and the similarities between some of the processes and other types of spirits. I'm faking it a little bit in terms of creating the flavor, but for a cocktail and being able to create that without aging our by the way, mezcals are extremely expensive as well, without taking the price point up as high. I mean, that would be an $18 cocktail a lot of times on a mezcal. You can do them lower, but you're not getting the best on the mezcal. So I'm using peat monster to kind of create that smokiness. And so this drink is made with a little jalapeno, and so I'm going to cut a little of the jalapeno. I'm going to muddle it in some agave. And so basically the idea when I hear is, if you want to try this at home, you can always come here and get it and have it made by Garrett or one of our other experts here. So you take a little bit of jalapeno. Now the thing with jalapeno is when you do this, I recommend not touching your face or any of that stuff. I've done it before. I can tell you some stories about things I've touched after touching jalapeno that didn't go too well for me. But the heat is in the seeds. So anyway, just cut a couple pieces of the jalapeno, or have your barback cut a few pieces of the jalapeno. Then you don't have to worry about that. And then I'm going to muddle it in a little bit of agave nectar. So with this, I'm doing 3/4 of agave. I don't want the drink to be overly sweet because I'm adding chocolate to it as well. So I'm just doing 3/4 on the agave. And then the muddling is just breaking that up. It's getting some of that spiciness in there, and blending the flavor a little bit with the agave. And now I'm going to add just a little bit of chocolate to coat. Just a little bit. It's not the chocolate is. You don't want you already notice that there's chocolate notes in there. So we're not trying to overtake it. Really, what I'm trying to do is just bring out a lot of what's already there. 3/4 on the peat monster. And so a lot of folks, when they see us making cocktails, they wonder why we're using these. That's because we want to make sure that every cocktail that you have here tastes exactly the same. So the measurements never change. It doesn't have to do so much with human error or anything like that. They're always going to be what you expect from them, which is the reason why we do that. So, and then, last but not least, the Riazul. I'm going to use 1 3/4 on the Riazul. So now I wouldn't tell you to pour it this way. I mean, this is just because I know what I'm doing, but this is a 2-ounce pour. You could do it on a 1 ounce and then a 3/4. Either way, it's the same thing, but that's it's 1 3/4. And then this cocktail is shaken and then served over ice. So other question people ask a lot is, why do you all shake like that? Why is what's all this kind of stuff in the air and all that? And it's really just about creating the momentum inside here so that you get everything mixed much better. So when you see a bartender go, right? For one, your drink's not chilled. So you lose out a lot of I mean you have a drink that's basically you pour it over ice, and that's where the chilling process is happening in the glass, which is not what you want. And then secondly, you're not doing the best job of blending that cocktail. So the shakes that we do are really about that. If you go to Japan, and some of these guys have mastered what they call the hard shake, and it's this sort of motion of bringing it around like this while bringing it up and down. So that's essentially what you're doing, at a fast speed, and everyone has little tweaks on it. Some even argue whether or not it's totally necessary, but the idea is, again, getting the right kind of blending in the shaker. So. I'm looking for that icing around the top. You touch that. You see that? It's that frost. It's like it's frosty around the outside. I know that drink is completely chilled, and what's in there, you can feel it. That's what you're looking for. So, and this drink is served on the rocks. So it's strained and then served on the rocks. So again, the reason, all the measurements and everything is because you want that. You want it to be like where it's at. It is what it is. And then you want to use, the better the ice, the better. Because you don't want to water down all those flavors that we just put in there. So I'm going to shake another round or two of this and send it around for everyone to drink. And who gets the one right here? We should have, George, trivia. Ask a question. Who gets it right gets this one.
What's the difference between, what are the two types of tequilas being made out there? They are what and what?
Wrong answer. What is not it? Who's next? Jose is your bar back. He's been the one walking around serving, taking care of you. And then Garrett is your bar master extraordinaire, and he's going to be making drinks for you for the rest of the night. And I'm Carl Franz. Have a good night.